So the last several teachings, morning reflections and teaching from Ajahn Anicca, was coming back to more basic themes that has been sort of driven home by Lumpur Liam. And so we're thinking about essentially the Four Noble Truths and desire, cravings that we experience, and as Ajahn Ahimsa was talking about, how the self is also involved in that. The other side of what Ajahn Ahimsa brought up, in addition to cravings and self, was he mentioned the word attachment, and didn't talk about that as much. And so that I've been reflecting about that and how it is that we get attached and how we are often fooling ourselves by, in a way, just hiding the fact that we're going to be attached to something that we're getting involved with. And how often this happens, how easy it happens, and how, if we're really engaged with the Buddha's teachings, with panya, with wisdom, we'll know that, I've been here before, I've done this before, I'm not going to go there with this. And this happens, I think, daily. I just think of so many experiences for me, like so many projects I get involved in. I mean, the latest one. It's just putting an attachment before myself, and then on it goes. And then there's dukkha as a result, there's suffering as a result. And in monastic life or lay life, it doesn't matter. These things are there. There are bigger things that the monastics take on that won't allow us to have certain attachments. So that would be like a romantic relationship or marriage or having children. But this doesn't mean that those things are therefore doomed to failure. So if we are, whatever we're doing, whether we're engaged again in the lay life or the monastic life, if we're aware of the potential for long-term attachment and clinging and the potential for us to kind of get in trouble and suffer around these things, then we can be very prepared for it. And even if we're going to get into things that are likely going to cause attachments for us, then we do that with wisdom. We do that knowing this, and we make sure that we're putting in those processes in our own practice whereby we're letting go and we're trying to really not be so attached, to essentially not cause ourselves so much dukkha. I mean, I don't want to embarrass a couple here, but I remember that Julian and Danny, I think, have in their wedding ring, maybe in their wedding rings, maybe the word Anicca. Is that right? Yeah. And I remember I've known Julian and Danny since I was an Anagarika, maybe even pre-Anagarika when I was here. And yeah, there was questions about getting married and having life together, having Leo. And so we can see that this is done. I mean, putting that word in your wedding ring is pretty, it's really taking on quite a lot of wisdom in that, and being parents in a very intentional way. So it's possible to follow the Buddhist path and know that we're going to be involved in things that are going to cause attachment for us. But when we do this with a lot of care and concern with our own minds and those people we live with, the projects we take on, what we're doing, we're really trying to attend to them with an enormous amount of wisdom, to see that there is this sense of anicca, there is this sense of needing to let go. We don't have a lot of control over so many things in our life. And the more that we set up these projects before us, we set up these attachments, and we don't acknowledge this sense that there isn't a lot of control and things are probably going to fall apart, and they're definitely, absolutely, 100% not going to go in the way that we expected, probably not going to go in the way that we necessarily wanted, then we're just learning over and over again that though we have to engage with things that can incline us towards this sense of wanting things to stay the same and wanting them to go how we want them to go, we just have the ability to let go of that so much when we bring the Dhamma into our mind as the forefront, the most important thing. And so being very careful with those things that we take on, it doesn't mean we don't do them, but we try to be very careful. And this is something I've had to painfully learn over and over again with many sort of obsessive projects I get involved in, and then I kind of burn myself in certain ways. And there's usually a good result in one way or another, but there's also negative karma that's produced. And because of that, then that's what I have to work on. And because of that negative karma, it's more like, oh, how do I engage with these things so that I'm really not producing so many negative effects for myself or those who I live with? And so really kind of trying to have a sense of how we take on things that we're doing without saying, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to get involved with anybody, and we have this kind of pushing away of the world, or pushing away of any responsibility. That wouldn't be it either. That's not the middle way, that's an extreme, and it's not going to help. But knowing that we have to get involved, knowing that we have to do certain things, knowing our own propensities and how we do get involved, these will all help us. And when we do it with wisdom, when we get involved with these things with wisdom, then we have the potential to just, again, use that sort of sense, like imagine wearing a ring that has the word Anicca, or just having that ring in your mind, that sense of, okay, this isn't in my control, and I don't want to get too attached in this, whatever it is I'm engaging with. So keep, whatever it is, whether it's a small project today that we're working on, or just a bit of a larger project that we're engaged with, just the sense of knowing our own inclinations and how easy it is for us to get attached, but with the reminders of not really being in control and letting go of how we want everything to be in a particular way, we have the possibility to be released from so much suffering.